going to share some training about what goes into really effective sales calls, especially with high ticket sales, what questions, the psychology behind some of these things. And then obviously I'm going to be live in the chat. I'll come back on. We got lots more to do. So without further ado, let's dive into some training on high ticket sales and what really goes into making those a success.
So now I want to walk you through what to actually ask and talk about during the sales process, during the sales call itself. Now remember, you want to come in armed with your knowledge. If you did your job and were able to get them to fill out a type form, you should have already pre-qualified them. In fact, you shouldn't be taking this call unless you know this person looks like a good fit for your product or service. You want to come in armed with that knowledge, and you want to verify the right things are in place on that call. The first thing you want to say and make sure of is, are all the decision makers on the call? For example, if the person told you their spouse really needs to be part of, any decision they make on coaching, is she or he on the call? If not, or if something happened, reschedule. I'm serious, because what will happen is, if you try to sell someone without all the decision makers, they're not going to commit in most cases. They're going to still have that objection of, well, this all sounds great, but I really need to run it by blank, the other people. You are going to have to resell all over again to the decision maker. You don't want to have to do that, or you don't want to have to rely on the prospect to have to resell everything to the decision maker for you. Get them all on the call, or else don't do it. Just reschedule. Just say, well, it's really critical, that everybody's involved. I know that your spouse is a huge part of your business. I want to save you time and save us time, not having to try to have you remember it all and recapture it and really just present it all one time. Make sure I can answer in real time any questions that you both have. So let's just do this. Let's just reschedule for a time when your spouse is available. And people will respect that. They'll understand that, and that will save you pain and heartache. Also, of course, you want to come in knowing what is their top pain point and how urgent is it to them to fix it. Also, what's the ROI? What's one new sale or client worth to them for a product or service? Or if it's kind of coaching, career stuff, how much pain are they in? What, those 1 to 10 scales that I showed you before, how high or low are those numbers? Are they extreme? Next up, we want to get people emotional. After we kind of break the ice and pleasantries, let's get people excited. Let's get them feeling something. You all know this, hopefully by now. I certainly had to learn it. People buy based on emotion. They do not buy based on logic or facts. They buy because they're excited. They buy because they think this is going to solve all their problems. They buy because it feels good. Now, later, we all go back and justify our purchase based on logic or facts. So yes, you need both, but this is why data doesn't sell. This is why facts and bullet points don't sell. What sells is emotion. That's why part of the sales process, part of the sales call is performance. It's performance art, so to speak. It's you connecting with someone at a human level, getting them to feel something, feel urgency, feel scarcity, feel excitement, feel joy, whatever it is, get them to act, because they will buy based on what they're feeling. Again, you still need all the facts and all that. You just don't lead with that, because that is what they'll use later on to justify and feel good about the purchase. Well, I'm going to get 3 months of this and 6 months of that and this tool and that, whatever, right? So key thing, get people emotional. So going back to that pre-qualifying question and really even, restating it or asking it again, you can say, just to confirm what I read on your Typeform survey, is it still right to say that the biggest issue in your life, the number one thing you wish you could solve, the number one kind of place of pain for you is blank, right? Or just ask them. If you're not really sure, just say, well, if I could really fix or improve one thing in your business right now, or one thing in your life right now, what would that be? And again, this is key. Just focus on one thing. Just focus on one simple thing. The biggest problem they have. What is it, right? Now we're going to get into the emotion of it. Like, how urgent is it to you to fix this? How important and urgent is it to you to fix this? Again, just restating that. I need it today, right? Get them saying that. Ask them that question, even if you know the answer, because they're going to start kind of flooding themselves with emotion and endorphins and going, God, I got to get this figured out. My business is going to close if I don't do something. Or I cannot go back to that job for another year. Like, I've got to get out of this career, right? You want them really feeling that urgency. Next up, you're going to say, again, more emotion. How are you going to feel when that's no longer a problem? Like, get into details. Like, again, and this is where you can kind of say it in whatever language you're comfortable with. I don't want you thinking a sales call is like a real stiff script, like an actor reading lines. It's very much a conversation. These are the guideposts. These are the templates to use. So you basically say to someone, okay, how would it feel to really have just a reliable kind of unlimited source of quality leads for your business? What would that feel like? Like, what would that do for you? And if they say, oh man, it would be great, it would increase revenue. Say, no, like more than that. Like, how would it feel? Like, what would it do for your life? Like, are you stressed out, awake every night, wondering where the next sale is going to come from? Like, get them into that place emotionally of, oh my God, if we actually had lead flow, I know my sales guys are great. Like, it would take so much pressure off me. I mean, I've got an ulcer right now worrying about getting enough leads for my sales team. Like, that's the kind of level you want to drill down into, not just, if I could change careers, I'd be happier. No, what would that feel like? What is it? You can even go back and go, what does it feel like right now? Like, what's the pain of this situation? Well, right now, I'm not really sleeping well. I'm, eating too much. I'm drinking too much coffee, whatever. I'm really down in the dumps. Well, what if we could solve that? Like, what's the flip side of that? Oh my gosh. Well, then I could relax. I could start doing this again, blah, blah, blah. Like, you want them telling you in their own words how amazing it's going to feel when they solve this problem. And now you can go two directions with this based on what they tell you, right? Of how good it would feel. You can say, so if I can help you solve that, like, how much is that worth to you? And it could be a monetary question or just a emotional life question. If I could help you find a career you really loved, what is that worth to you? How would you put that into, a value? What, like, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually? If you're a coach, you can get into those pieces. Or if it's a business, you could say, honestly, if I could help you solve that and get you unlimited quality leads day after day on LinkedIn, like, what's that worth to you? What does that do for your business? How does that transform your company, your revenue, your sales? Like, tell me more. Like, let's figure this out. Let them start getting excited about, oh my gosh, this is the transformation that would happen. This is the actual transformation, the exciting kind of amazing, fireworks are going off kind of thing. Or, what you can also do is say, look, if I can help you solve that today, and you can use both of these, would you want to get started? Like, if I could help you fix that problem right now, would you want to get started with me today? Because again, you want to close them on this call. You don't want to give them any excuses to walk away and cool off. So this is another option you can say is, well, that sounds amazing. So assuming I could help you, really deliver what I'm saying here and get you unlimited leads every day on LinkedIn, would you want to get started right away or would you want to wait, right? And of course, they're going to say, oh, I'd love to. I want to solve this now. And of course, we have to talk about objections. You want to remove all the objections up front. And the biggest one always is pricing. And what you want to do is really make sure that other than pricing, there's not going to be anything else holding them back from moving forward. So one of the questions I always ask is I say, hey, assuming we can agree on the pricing today, assuming, once we go through the numbers, it all makes sense for you, the ROI looks good, assuming all that feels good, is there any other reason you wouldn't want to start right away? And that puts them in a place where now they can't back down. Right now, if you can get them later on, which we'll talk about, to agree on the pricing, they don't have any other objections to fall back on to not sign up right now, correct? Because what you're going to do is, if you ask this question and they go, well, I'd still need to XYZ, then you address that. Because you want to drill down. Whatever they can come up with other than pricing that's an objection, get that out of the way now. Before you talk money, make sure there's no other objections. So this next part is one of my favorites, and this is one that has closed so many deals for me. And I have a lot of my new clients say to me, no one's ever done this to me before. No one's ever asked me this question. And that's why I'm calling it a Jedi mind trick. We're bringing in Luke and Yoda and Star Wars, right? We're going full Jedi mind tricks. One of the things I love to do on these calls is I literally will say this. I'll say, okay, I'm going to flip the script for a second. What would make you a great client for me? Like, why would I want to work with you? And that totally flips everything around. Now, the prospect, instead of sitting back with their arms folded saying, prove to me you should get my money, now they have to justify themselves to you. And this is really good for a few reasons. One is you can get red flags out of this. If someone starts saying a bunch of things of why they would be a great client and you're hearing red flags, you can go, whoa, I don't want to make an offer. You'd be a nightmare to work with. Or what typically happens is you hear the kind of things that are music to your ears. The person says, you know what? I'm very responsible. I'm organized. I'm going to do what I'm told. If I'm investing in your program, you can be darn right I'm going to take action. I'm not a micromanager. I'm not going to sit here and worry about every period and every comma. I trust you. I trust your system. When I make a decision, I'm all in. Like whatever those things are that you want to hear, they will, ideally come out in this place. And what I love is, and I'll even joke around on these calls when I say basically sell yourself to me. Like, why should I want to work with you? Because that does a couple of things is they realize you're not desperate. They realize you actually won't just work with anyone. You're not just going to take their money. You're kind of picky and choosy and selective. And, sometimes I'll frame this and I'll say look, I want to make sure this is a good fit for us just as much as it is for you. Because if we're going to get you great results, we want to make sure you're the right type of client, the right type of customer for us and the way we work. So tell me that. Like, why would I love to work with you? What would be great about having you as a client? Like, why would we be excited to bring you on into our world? And they'll really want to sell themselves and really want to justify themselves. Their human nature will say, well, wait a minute, I'm great. Why wouldn't you want to work with me? And then what I'll do after they say all that is I'll laugh and I'll go, all right, you've sold me. You've sold me on working with you. Look at that, right? When I say that phrase, like, okay, you've sold me on wanting to work with you. Then they're all excited, like, yeah, I can't wait to do this. Like, great, you do want to work with me. You flipped it around. You flipped the script. Now they're going, okay, great. He does want to work with me. Thank God. I thought he might turn me down. Like, now they're in this position and ready to hear the offer. So one of the great things I've learned, and everyone gets so nervous about offer, and pricing and actually saying it'll cost this much, throw out just an insanely huge number. Like this has been proven in different sales books and strategies to really work well. So let's say I want to sell you a $50,000 program, right? So if my offer is going to be $50,000, right? What I'm going to say is the good news here is it's not like this costs $1 million. Or the good news here is you're not going to have to spend $250,000. Like throw out this insanely large number because psychologically that will now kind of anchor your offer. Even though you don't want to be too ridiculous, but you can basically, I'll say this. I'll be like, hey, the great news here, and I'll kind of laugh, is it's not going to cost you $250,000. So it's not going to cost you $1 million. And they laugh and they're like, well, that's good because I don't have that kind of money lying around. I don't know about you. And I'll go, yeah, that's the great news. And now then you can pivot into the offer and say, the great news is, this is really going to make sense for you based on the ROI. And let me move into that part because what you're going to do is you're going to say to them, right, hey, I'm going to really be able to make this a no-brainer. Remember, you've thrown out this big number. They're thinking, oh, $1 million is the only number they've heard. And now you're going to say, the great news is this is not even anywhere near that. It's going to be a no-brainer, in fact. And what you say is, knowing, again, you've gotten this information, knowing one new client for you is worth $10,000, $20,000, $500, whatever it is, all we have to do, if I can deliver on what I promise, all I've got to do is get you one new client, 2 new clients, 3 new clients in whatever time frame. And that will not only pay for my services, you'll have this great foundation moving forward. So what I'll do is if I'm selling you a $50,000 done for you 6-month LinkedIn program, and I know one new client to them is worth $25,000, I can easily do the math and say, here's the great news. It's not $1 million. All we've got to do is get you 2 clients in the next 6 months and we pay for ourselves. Like if I can't do that, I'm just going to quit and go home, right? And they'll laugh because now they're going, well, that doesn't seem that hard, right? If this guy could get me 2 clients, well, it'll pay for itself. That'd be a great investment, And then I say, the reality is too, you're going to have this system in place. Like, we're going to build you this LinkedIn lead generation machine. We're going to, make sure that we get you the clients or whatever. And all we've got to do just to make it, a no-brainer is get you 2 clients in 6 months. Come on, who can't do that, right? And then I say, but the best part is now you've got this foundation and there's no reason we can't get you 2 new clients a week, right? Like, let's get excited about this. I don't see any red flags or obstacles or reasons why we can't do this for you. And that is key. You've got to have the math make sense. If you came to me and said 1 new client's worth $500, I'm not going to offer you a $50,000 program. There's no way I'm going to be able to get you 1,000 clients in 6 months, probably, right? Or you're not going to want to take that kind of risk. But again, people get freaked out about the big numbers, and I used to as well, but just take it down to, like, instead of saying, in your mind, instead of saying $50,000, just say $5. Just say, like, 1 new client is worth $2.50 to these guys. They're going to spend $5 with me if I get them 2 clients. Like, it really, at the end of the day, what's so interesting is people, as long as the math makes sense, this number is not as big of a deal. Because the other thing I'll do too, when I say, what's your ROI, what's 1 new client worth, if they have kind of lower rates than I think they should have. So if they're a coach and they really struggle with how to price themselves, I'll make that part of the sales pitch. And I'll say, look, why are you charging $30 an hour? Like, you're a coach with 25 years experience. You worked for Fortune 100 companies. Obviously, nobody's told you you're a big deal. Like, again, flip it back to the prospect and be like, you're a huge deal. Like, why aren't you charging more? There's no reason you can't get $300 an hour. Honestly, like, that's what the market is for top high-level coaches. And then what you say to them is you get them believing in themselves. Again, this comes back to emotion. Get them to sell themselves on the process and that they have what it takes, right? You want to get them to go, you want to pump their tires and be like, you're way underpriced. By the time we're done with you, this is what I'll say. Like, we're going to redo your LinkedIn profile. We're going to redo and create content for you. It's going to be, the BMW or the Apple of the coaching kind of quality class, right? You're going to have high level, high authority, high-end branded kind of content and copy and everything. So people are going to expect to pay an arm and a leg to work with you. Like, we're going to raise your rates, because what that does is that helps them justify the price at the end. Because I say, you're no longer a $30 an hour coach. You are now a $300 an hour coach. Now it makes much more sense when we get into the bigger offer, right? Don't settle for what they think they're worth. If you legitimately and honestly know they can make more money and they should charge more because this is your area of expertise, you work in this niche all the time, you have other clients who do the same thing and charge 10 times more, tell them that. Get them excited. Sell them on themselves. You are a big deal. You have what it takes. You're going to be very successful. You just need the confidence and the guidance and the expertise that we will provide. Because remember, people aren't going to buy your product or service if they don't believe they can, make things happen with it. If they don't believe that they're going to be successful, they're not going to invest, even if you promise to do everything for them. Also, on these calls, I always love to wheel and deal. You always want to have, they call it scarcity or urgency or takeaway selling, right? I'm gonna offer this right now. If you don't sign up, it kind of goes away like as soon as we hang up. But you don't have to be crass about it. But what I always do is I have a phrase where I basically say, I'm really excited. You told me earlier, assuming the numbers make sense, there's no reason not to move forward right away. So what I would love to do is get you going today. And I want to put skin in the game. I always say that, I'm willing to put skin in the game too. So what I'll do, is offer XYZ. And so maybe that's a payment plan. Maybe that's extra services. Maybe that's me paying for the tools that you need for my program. I'll throw something in there. Maybe it's reducing the price. Maybe I say normally this is a $50,000 program. I tell you what, right here, right now, I'm going to put skin in the game. I'm going to do this program for, not only we're going to do it for $45,000, we're going to let you do monthly payments. This is the key, is offer something that, goes away. Urgency or scarcity. Basically, I want to put skin in the game too. Like, I want to be your partner in this, right? And I know one question that comes up is people ask all the time, will you share revenue or take a cut of my sales if I get them? Right? That's a big question I get. I don't know if other service providers get this. That is a huge fat no way for me. And here's why. You don't want to go into business with other people. Don't do that. Don't be reliant on other people's ability to close deals or get payments or, run a good business. That's my personal philosophy. So there's a little soapbox moment. I never do this. I always just say, that sounds great, but I honestly, too, this is true. I've been burned too many times. I've had people promise me, I'm the best closer ever. If you're as good as you say you are with leads, I'm going to make $10 million. I'll give you, 50% of every sale. And it's like, oh, that sounds great. And then inevitably, of course, they can't live up to the hype. So that's just my little aside, my little soapbox. I never do that. But you do what you want. The last thing I want is if they say, I want to think about it. Like, even though you've eliminated every objection, right? They've said there's no reason they don't want to start today. They've agreed the pricing makes sense. This all looks great, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes they'll say, hey, this all sounds amazing, but I want it all in writing, right? I want you to lay it all out, send me a document, send me a contract, blah, 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 blah. So what I will say is, hey, that's totally fine. At the end of the day, you can't overpressure people. I'll say that's totally fine. I completely respect that. Some people will say, hey, I have to sleep on it. That's just a rule. I'm too impulsive. I have to take 24, I have to pray about it, talk to my family, whatever it is. Okay. Make them set a deadline. See, that's totally fine. I completely understand and respect that. But let's set a firm deadline. Yes or no. By this date, yes or no. How long do you need is what I'll ask people. I'll say, how long do you need to really wrestle with this and make your call? And they'll tell you, I need a week, or I need by the end of this week. This is super important to me. I want to get it done. Just give me 24 hours. And then I'll say, fine, that's cool. And what's going to happen is you'll have a set deadline. And if they're like, why do we have to have a deadline? You can say, hey, again, because I'm wheeling and dealing, I'm not going to just leave this offer out there forever. This is a special exception. I don't normally do this. But again, I'm excited. I'm emotional. You have sold me right now on your process. I really want to work with you. So I'm putting a lot of skin in the game. So I don't want this hanging out there forever too. I may leave and cool off and figure this was too good of an offer, right? So I don't want to have that hanging out there either. Let's set a deadline. And that way too, we can both move on with our lives. And if you decide it's not a good fit, that's totally fine. But the worst thing for both of us is just to have it hanging out there forever, right? We'll never make a decision together. So make them stick to that. Now, last thing, if they have a deadline, you better find creative ways to stay in touch with them. So for example, what I like to do, and again, do it in creative, personal ways. I pitched a person a 5-figure training program the other day. And he's like, yeah, this all sounds great. I think we're going to do it. I just need to, verify. I want to do it. I have the budget. I just need time to think about it. And I said, okay, how long do you need? He said, middle of next week. Because what typically happens is if you set a deadline and you don't kind of follow up and nurture the conversation between now and the deadline, a lot of times people will cool off and not do it. So many things can go wrong between now and the deadline. Their kid could get sick. Their house could get foreclosed. Anything could happen, right? All these things. Someone could, they could have a client not pay them, and all of a sudden they don't have budget anymore, and they could get cold feet, right? They could talk to someone who says, that's idiotic. I'll do your LinkedIn for $1. Anything is possible. So I don't like this, right? I want people closing in the moment while they're emotional, while they're excited. I get their card, I get them signed up. Otherwise, the longer this deadline is and the further out they go and the less contact they have, the more reason they have to not buy. Because remember, we buy when we're emotional. And if they're not emotional, a week goes by and they forget, right? Or they, cool off. It's not as exciting anymore. Now they're just looking at the proposal and the $50,000 and going, God, that's a lot of money. Do I really want to do that? And then you have to almost chase them again. So my advice is try to always avoid having a deadline. But if you do, find creative ways to stay in front of the prospect. And what I like to do with this is I'll to stay in touch, I will talk about, the icebreakers that we use, like the weather or where they live or sports teams. Like, for instance, the guy I was pitching this to lives, right now I'm in Minnesota as I'm recording this, and out my door it's snowing, in October, and it's just miserable weather. So on the sales call, we were joking, and I said, I'm only going to do this deal if you're willing to come from Arizona and shovel my driveway. And the guy's like, oh, no way, man. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm never coming back. I hate the winters. So we had a lot of banter about the weather. So he's got a week now to decide if he wants to do this training. So what did I do today? I took a photo with my iPhone. It's snowing again. And I said, hey, I'm not kidding. You need to come back. Don't you miss this? Ha, 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 right? A couple days from now, if I don't hear from him, I'll find something else to say, a news report about Arizona. And the reason I like to do, creative ways, not just, hey, want to follow up. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Don't always just talk about the contract. Talk about the icebreakers and the things that you bonded on around, where they live, sports teams, their life. Maybe they told you about their family, because they will respond to those, because they're not pressure, filled emails about yes or no to the deal. But what it does is it puts you back top of memory with them. And they're like, oh yeah, that's funny. I remember bantering with that guy about the weather. Oh yeah, I really did enjoy that call with him. Yeah, that reminds me, I need to look at that deal and make a decision. That's my favorite approach to trying to quote unquote chase a deal and follow up, is find non-sale related things to send them, like animated GIFs, animated emojis about something in the conversation. And you should have some of that from the sales call, from the intake forms where they tell you their story, or look them up online. Look at their Facebook, look at their LinkedIn. Hey, and congrats to you. I noticed your kid won his football game Friday. You posted on Facebook. Hope you have a great weekend. That's an example of a simple, easy way to stay in front of them that's not weird or creepy, but reminds them, oh yeah, Nemo, that's the guy I had the deal with. I need to figure that out. That is it. That is the best advice I can give you on all of these different elements, but especially following up to seal the deal.
All right, I'm back. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me see. The hair is down. I got to get it back up there. There, flock of seagulls. Steven missed this. Steven came on late, but the intro to this was just fab. I'm having a great hair day. I'm not going to lie. Okay. So here's the thing. I hope you found this helpful. It really is insight into what goes into an effective sales conversation, especially the higher ticket. And I want to actually launch a little poll because I'm kind of curious to take the temperature of everyone here. So I'm going to launch a poll. I want you to vote in. What is one new sale worth for you? So you can either, if you want, put it in the comments or just vote in the poll. I've got ranges in there, US dollars, 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, whatever it is. Put in there what one new sale is worth. Because I am curious just to kind of take the temperature of what level everybody is selling at. Oh, I see. I have to publish this. Sorry, I forgot to publish the poll. Now it's there. Now you can vote. But the thing is, too, the higher the sale price, the higher the ticket item, the more you've really got to build in that know, like, and trust and that familiarity. And that goes into the pre-qualifying, but also the sales call. What's really been eye-opening to me is understanding that as long as the math makes sense, a $50,000 sale is honestly the same as a $50 sale. It really, really is. When you break down the math for people and they see, okay, what do I have to get out of this in order to justify the investment, the ROI, it becomes very easy. And when you break it down and simplify it and say, hey, look, if a win for you is getting 3 new clients, you're telling me that's worth $75,000 to you, why wouldn't you spend X dollars to put this all in place, right? That's really what's exciting about it. Okay, interesting. The poll's coming in. I see a lot of higher ticket selling, which is awesome. And people are still voting. All right, yeah, so Nils is doing coaching 2 to 5K. Yep. All right, so yeah, everybody else vote in the poll, or you can put in the comments if you want. Okay, so I still see votes coming in. Here's the thing. I want to really help you understand sales is not hard. People tell you it is, but it's not. So let me do this. Let me end the poll. You can see kind of the results here in the chat box area. Yeah, you've got a lot of people. So one new sale is $1 to $5 grand, $5 grand or more. Some of you are 500 to 1,000, some are 0 to 500. Okay, all over the map, which is awesome. So let me do this. Would you like my help in closing more sales? Just put yes or no in the comments. Hopefully, yes. Would you like, come on, let's get excited. Let's get the hair up. Do you want help closing sales? Do you want this? Do you want help from a guy that wears hair like this closing your high ticket sales, right? High ticket closer right here. Woo! Type yes. All right, Josh wants it. Tell me you want the hair. Okay, so here's what I want to do. And Kurt, you asked about this too. So let me share with you my sales strips and strategies online course. Cheryl says yes. Adrienne is a yes. I love it. Nil says yes. He needs help prospecting. I got you covered. All right, get the sales training here. All right, so I'm going to link to in the chat and then also here in a second. Get the sales training here. My online course, which I've been updating, adding tons of new stuff. Reagan says, bring it on. I love it. All right, I'm going to pop open a new window for everyone. I'll put the offer up as well for my sales scripts and strategies online course. So what you just saw today is from that training, the video, but it also will include all the scripts and strategies and everything else. Yes, Ric Flair. Woo! You got it, Kurt. All right. Cheryl, Adrienne, Josh, like, especially for those of you looking at it, and I'll share my screen right now too so that you can see everything. Okay, and then I'll answer questions too because I see some good questions coming in. All right, I said yes before the hat came off. Yikes. I love it. All right, Josh says, oh, this is interesting. This is great for a single call sale, but sometimes high ticket require multi-step, multi-call process. I would disagree. I would disagree because I do high ticket one call closes, high ticket one call close. However, there's a bunch that goes in before you get on the phone. This is the secret sauce, Josh, of this course. And I'll go in and show you the course. So again, this is the sales page, the checkout page for the course, like all my courses, 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee. Here's what I'm going to show you, Josh, is creating ready-to-buy prospects and pre-qualifying them so that when they do get on the sales call, it is a one-call close. It honestly is, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what I've put into this course. So really, you know, what I'm going to cover in here, and if you've ever bought courses from me before, I do Thinkific, and what you'll see, Josh and everyone else, is before the sales call, and especially high-ticket calls, here's how to pre-qualify them. Literally, here's what you need to do. Here are the steps to take. Here's the best type of content to pre-qualify people. Here's how to create that. And then I walk through, like, actually what to say on the sales call, what frame of mind to put yourself in, how to do that, you know, word for word, like here's the questions to ask. Like you literally just saw this training, right? This is in there. I'm also going to go into all kinds of sales strategies and secrets, how to get big name clients, right? How to close that out because that's a unique approach. Okay. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about selling online, sharing some stories, right? My $75,000 mistake. Believe me, you know me. I'm going to lead with my face plants too. Sales funnels, we're going to cover that. Sales secrets, funnels, how to set up your sales pages that convert well. We've got a bunch of case studies in here too. So different things from Shark Tank guests I've had on the podcast, consulting clients, true story, how I sold a $1,500 product in less than 5 minutes, right? How to land high ticket people, going behind the scenes of launches, all kinds of stuff. So again, this is the course, and this is what I want you to get your hands on today. I know Super Mario already grabbed this last week. I think Keith did, some other folks. So I'm gonna double down on what I offered last week. So this is me doing something right now. I'm willing to wheel and deal with you right now. So anyone that signs up today, here's what we're gonna do. Anyone that signs up for this course right here, right now, I'm gonna give you a 30-minute one-on-one consulting call with me. 30 minutes one-on-one, me consulting with you. I will, if you want, wear my hair like this. Like, that's totally fine. Let me get it up there. Okay. I will do it, right? I will show up like this for you. Okay. So let's do this. I want to offer that. So I will say bonus right now only, one-on-one 30-minute call with John. I will give you 30 minutes of one-on-one consulting. We'll get on Zoom. We'll share screens. I'll record the whole thing, whatever you want help with. So let me know in the chat if you're going to do that, if you're going to sign up so I can make sure. I'll just check for links here. So let me know in the chat if you're signing up. I know Super Mario jumped in last week and grabbed it. Hey, it's me, Mario. We got on the course. Keith already, it was Keith and I did the call already, right, Keith? Like, we already did your 30-minute call. We did a deep dive on his LinkedIn profile and lead gen and strategy and then sales ideas. So I'm going to give you that. Like, so whatever you want to jump into on that bonus call, plus obviously the course. And the thought process too, I would offer to each of you watching this right now is remember the poll you just voted on. Like, what is one new sale worth to you? Chances are it's worth a lot more than $500. So if you can go through this course today and like you can get through this all here Friday afternoon, like everything in it, it's very simple. It's very actionable. Let me pull it up again. Like everything in here is very actionable. Like the idea is to immediately get in, to go in, to do this, to do this, to do this. Here you go. Here's the exact stuff to ask people to pre-qualify them. So I'll give you kind of the copy and paste, what to say it, how to structure it. I'll give you all that. You can start implementing this all today, right? Like immediately. And then the idea is, right, the ROI, the math made simple for this special offer today. For $497, you get this entire course. You also get 30 minutes of my one-on-one consulting to help you, right? Certainly, the ROI is very simple. One sale is going to like what? 1x, 2x, 10x your investment. So hopefully the math makes sense. I would love to hear any questions you have, any concerns, any clarifications about, does the course have this? Does it do that? You know, like even with what Josh mentioned earlier, because I think that was a really good one. Like, hey, this might work for one call sale, but high tickets sometimes require multi-step, you know, and that's where I'm like, yeah, but we can pre-qualify. We can warm them up, put them in that ready to buy state. And that's a lot of what this course goes into too, is how to really make sure that you don't give away your time until people are ready. So again, let me know in the chat if you're signing up. Let me see. Okay, I see stuff coming in. I want to make sure I don't call people out that aren't signing up. But what other questions do you have? So again, 30-minute bonus call. Let me put in the link here to the training. And also get the course here. Make sure that pops up. Make sure that this pops up. If you have questions too, put them in the live chat and we can answer them right now. I'm trying to think of what else people always ask about sales and sales courses and training. It's like understanding if you can follow a proven path for sales, it's so much easier. You know, another thing I could ask is like, to the whole point, getting very meta about today's training, is like, how hard are sales for you? How much pain does the prospect of having to sell cause you? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, I never stress out, 10 being like, sales are horrible, terrifying, I can't do them, whatever. Like if you're a 10 on that scale and sales are very painful and scary and hard, then this course you need to get like right away. Like, because honestly, it's everything I've learned probably in a decade of doing this, you know, boiled down, consolidated into kind of specific steps and scripts. And I would say best of all, you don't have to be sleazy and spammy. Like you don't have to be pushy and hypey and all that stuff. There's a real method to the madness with this. So let me do this. I want to make sure people have time getting some questions here on the live chat too. So I want to make sure I get over there. Okay, I see a lot of people with live chat questions. Follow-up scripts. Yes, Kurt, there should be some scripts in there on like how to do the follow-up process I was talking about. Like, okay, if you do set a deadline, how do you stay in front of them? How do you find creative ways to kind of follow and do all that? And yeah, that's included too. Let me see. I don't see any other immediate questions people are having. So let me know again in the chat if you're signing up, or just email me and I will give you that 30-minute bonus one-on-one call like I'm doing with Mario and Keith and the others that are signed up. And let's see. I see lots of great comments and feedback. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so let me make sure I get this pulled up. And I'll show you one more thing because I know we're heading toward the top of the hour. You guys have gone quiet on me all of a sudden. Okay. Head over to this page, Sales Scripts and Strategies. And then at the bottom, there's this chat with John online form. So you can enter, this is like a one-on-one chat with me. And then on the backside, I can respond. So if you have specific questions you don't want to ask in the chat on the webinar, we can do it there. And this, again, covers everything you get, 30-day risk-free. I'm trying to think of what else you need to know. I mean, I think the big thing people like about this course is it's just step-by-step. It's very simple, straightforward, cut to the chase, no fluff, how to actually do it, how to structure it. And one key thing that's been really fun helping people in this training too is helping you figure out how to raise your rates. Like understanding when you get into a sales call, like how to value what you're doing, because price is only an issue in the absence of value. So, if, really teaching you how to have this mindset and how to go in and really be able to state your value clearly so that your prices reflect that and make sense, because there is specific psychology to that, right? And even here, like how to sell without being sleazy, right? How to sell without being spammy, being able to get in and literally walking you through, right? So giving you downloads, giving you all that. So, okay. Oh, good. I got chats coming in here as well. Let's do this. I want to make sure that we have time to get in, and let me check the live chat. All right. So if you have questions, all right. So let's do this. Let's hop over to the live chat area. So just click the link in the chat or where it says, get the training here, the offer button. Go over there, and then in the bottom right corner, you can live chat with me. We can talk more one-on-one because I know I have several of those popping up, so I got to respond. And then let's go from there. And obviously, regardless, I'm going to be back next week with more. We're going to do a deep dive into pre-qualifying people. But thank you, everybody, for being on the training today. I will pop open the link one more time before I hop off the live signal here. So jump over there, get the course. Again, if you sign up today, 30 minutes, free one-on-one consulting with me and my hair. I'll bring my hair. There's no extra charge right there. Thanks to everybody for being on. Thank you for all the fun, excitement. Hope you found massive value. Super excited for those of you that are signing up to do the bonus one-on-one call with me. And see you over on the course page. Live chat me there with more questions, and we'll go from there.